Hi and good morning. So in this video I'm going to discuss about first order reaction. So what is the definition of first order reaction? The chemical reaction whose rate depends upon concentration of one reactant. Chemical reaction whose rate is depending upon concentration of one reactant. Rate depends concentration of one reactant is what we call as first order reaction. Chemical reaction whose rate is depending upon concentration of one reactant is nothing but first order reaction. Yes, I have given some example for first order reaction. Decomposition of decomposition of nitrogen pentoxide simply. Nitrogen pentoxide on decomposition giving nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen pentoxide, this one, on decomposition giving nitrogen dioxide, NO2 and oxygen, isn't it? So this is an example for first order reaction because rate of this reaction is depending upon concentration of nitrogen pentoxide. Okay, that is N2O5. So it is a first order reaction. Then the other examples, decomposition of sulfuryl chloride. The formula of sulfuryl chloride is SO2 Cl2, which on decomposition giving sulfur dioxide. This is sulfuryl chloride, which on dissociation giving sulfur dioxide, SO2 plus Cl2, chlorine gas, isn't it? Here the rate depends the concentration of sulfuryl chloride. So it is a first order reaction. The next example, decomposition of hydrogen peroxide in aqueous solution. When hydrogen peroxide aqueous solution dissociates, it forms water, H2O, and oxygen, isn't it? Here rate depends concentration of hydrogen peroxide. You can write rate law for this as rate is directly proportional to concentration of H2O2. The rate is depending upon concentration of one substance, isn't it? So it is a first order reaction. The last example what I have given here is isomerization of cyclopropane into propene. This is cyclopropane, a cyclic compound with 3 carbon atoms which on dissociation giving an open chain compound propene. So this is propane. So even this is also example for first order reaction, which means that the rate of this reaction probably depends upon the concentration of cyclopropane what we use. Right? So these are some examples for first order reactions. Okay, right. Now let us see the derivation of integrated rate equation for a first order reaction. Okay. Now, so this is a general reaction, and a general reaction, reactant A is giving some product. Right. Now, for this general reaction, I am going to write rate law. I am going to write rate law, that is rate equal to rate constant K and concentration of reactant A. In the reaction we have 1 mole, no number, understood 1 mole, so that the number of moles is written as power of the concentration term. So let us have that as equation number 1. Okay. Similarly, for the same reaction, I am going to write rate expression as rate equal to minus dA by dt, minus dA by dt. Change in concentration of reactant A divided by change in time. Okay. So I am going to take equation number 2. Now look at equation number 1 and 2. Both are nothing but rate equations. Left side you have the same in both equations, isn't it? So that now we can equate on right side. So that from equation 1 and 2, from equations 1 and 2, I am going to get minus dA by dt. So this one, first I have written this one, minus dA by dt is equal to, then right side of first equation, K into concentration of A power 1. Okay, right. Then A power 1 is nothing but A, isn't it? Okay, so now just I rearrange this equation. I bring this concentration term to this denominator, left side denominator, and this dt on right hand side. Okay, this goes over here, and this A I am going to bring it over here. Okay, just change of dt and concentration term A. Okay, so I am getting the equation number 3, minus dA by A equal to K into dt. Okay, now this equation has to be integrated on both sides. Okay, equation 3 I am going to integrate on both sides. Okay, with limits A naught as a lower limit and A as a upper limit. A naught is nothing but initial concentration of reactant. A is nothing but concentration of reactant at time t. Okay, similarly right hand side, the dt is integrated with limits 0 and t. Lower limit 0, 0 time, and upper limit t, time t. Okay. Now the integration of dA by A is nothing but ln A. Integration of dA by A is nothing but ln A. Already there is a negative sign, so that it becomes minus ln A with limits A0 and A. Correct. Similarly, right side, here k is constant, that's why I have taken out of the integration sign. So k into integration of dt. Integration of dt is nothing but t. Okay, right. So I am getting t and with the limits 0 and t. Okay. So on the next step, I am going to substitute the limits. I am going to substitute upper limit followed by lower limit. Okay. So minus sign common, I take outside. Now ln A, so upper limit is A, isn't it? Therefore ln A minus lower limit A0 minus ln A0, minus of ln A minus ln A0 equal to k into, in the place of t, I substitute upper limit t minus lower limit 0. So k into t minus 0. Right. Now look at this one. So minus sign is common for both, isn't it? So that the second term will become positive, isn't it? So that this can be written minus ln A plus ln A0 equal to k into t, kt, isn't it? Right. Now, so first I write the positive term, so that kt equal to, this can be written as kt equal to ln A0 minus ln A. Ln A0 minus ln A. This looks like a logarithmic formula, log of A minus log of B, which is nothing but log of A divided by B, isn't it? So according to that, so we can write kt equal to ln A0 divided by A. Okay, right. Then I keep only k, rate constant k, on left hand side, so that this t I am going to bring to the denominator of right hand side, isn't it? So that the equation becomes 1 by t into ln A0 divided by A. So I take this as equation number 4. Okay. So here in this formula, we have a term ln, isn't it? Actually, it is pronounced as natural log. It's pronounced as ln, but actually it's natural log. What we call natural log. What is natural log? No, natural log is nothing but the product of ordinary log, log 10 and 2.303. Okay, but ln is equal to what? 2.303 into log base 10. Okay, so that I am going to expand this ln here. Okay, so that the now the equation becomes finally k is equal to 2.303 divided by t into log of A0 divided by A. A0 concentration divided by A concentration. So this is nothing but the integrated rate. So here k is nothing but rate constant. The k what you have on left side is nothing but rate constant. Then right side denominator t is nothing but time. Then A0 is nothing but initial concentration of the reactant. Then denominator A concentration is nothing but concentration of reactant at this time, at time t. Okay, right. So very important derivation of integrated rate equation for a first order reaction. Okay, and what is the unit of K? It's already in the previous video we have discussed how to get unit for K of various reactions, 0, first, second, third order reaction. So let us discuss here also. Okay, right. Here in the K formula, denominator you have time. Yeah. So unit of time is SI unit is second. Then numerator A0 concentration. So concentration unit on the mole per liter divided by denominator you have A. A also has unit mole per liter, isn't it? So that mole per liter gets cancelled. So you have 1 divided by second. When it comes up, it is nothing but per second. Okay, this is what you are getting here. The unit of first order rate constant is nothing but per second. Okay, right. I hope you understood how to get the rate equation for a first order reaction. Okay, so now we are going to see the derivation of half-life period formula for a first order reaction. Okay, as well as we are going to prove that half-life period of a first order reaction, is independent of the initial concentration of reactant. So half-life period of a first order reaction, it never depend the initial concentration of reactant. Whatever initial concentration of reactant you take, if it is a first order reaction, the half-life period will be always constant. Okay, it never change with respect to the initial concentration. Okay, right. So now before we go to that, we should know what is meant by half-life period, isn't it? So half-life period is nothing but time required to reduce one half of the initial concentration of reactant. Half-life period is nothing but what? Time required to reduce one half of the initial concentration of the reactant. So you have taken certain quantity of reactant. When it wants to become as half of it, how much time it takes is what we call it as half-life period. Time required to become one half of the initial concentration of the reactant. Okay, that is given by a symbol T half. Okay, right. Now first I write the rate constant equation for a first order reaction. K is equal to 2.303 divided by T into log of A naught by A concentration. Okay, right. So here in the place of T, I am going to substitute T of. In the place of time T, I am going to substitute half-life period symbol T of. When time is T of, when time is half-life period, the concentration of reactant will be half of the initial concentration, because at half-life time, half of the reactant is converted into product, isn't it? So that the remaining reactant will be nothing but half of the initial concentration of reactant. So that at T of time, A is nothing but the half of the A naught, so A naught by 2. Okay, so I am going to substitute both this in the above equation. In the place of T, T of, in the place of A naught by 2. Okay, so I am getting this substitution. K equal to 2.303 divided by T of, in the place of T I have substituted T of into log of A naught divided by A naught by 2. So this is in the place of concentration A. Okay, right. Now this A naught gets cancelled, isn't it? So that this 2 goes to the numerator, probably you get log 2, isn't it? And I just rearrange, I bring T of on left hand side, so K goes to the denominator. So you get T of equal to 2.303 divided by K into log 2. Okay, so what is log 2? The value of log 2 is nothing but 0.3010. So finally you get a formula T of is equal to product of these two numbers 2.303 and 0.3010 is nothing but 0.6932 divided by K. So this is a half-life period formula for a first order reaction, that is T of equal to 0.6932 divided by K. Okay, right. So this is a half-life period formula derivation for first order reaction, right. One more thing, now just look at this formula. Is there any initial concentration term? So initial concentration is nothing but A naught, isn't it? Initial concentration of reactant is nothing but A naught. See in the formula whether you have A naught term in either numerator or denominator. But actually there is no A naught term at all in the formula, isn't it? If you have either A naught in numerator or denominator, you can say the T of is depending upon A naught. That is half-life period is depending upon initial concentration A naught. But whereas in the formula there is no initial concentration term at all. There is no initial concentration term, no A naught term in the formula, which means that the half-life period of this first order reaction is independent of A naught. Half-life period of first order reaction is independent of initial concentration of reactant. Okay, that's what I said earlier. Whatever a concentration of reactant you use initially, it never affect the half-life period of a first order reaction. The half-life period will be always constant. It is irrespective of the initial concentration of reactant. Okay, right. So thank you. Keep watching.